Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly, back to do a quick video here. VC Cheer. In case you're wondering what that little milky substance is, that's my protein drink. Just got back from the gym this morning. But back to do a quick video here, next album of the week. And actually, before I jump into that, I want to mention something about that because I need to give somewhat of a shout out to Elbow Sausage, my boy down in Texas. And I guess what it is was, I mean, the kind of shout out I want to give you is, I came home the other night and I was kind of like on edge and upset about something, and I started watching some videos, and I watched one of your videos, and you've been kind of going through this crusade lately with, you know, not smoking anymore, which you've been just like knocking out of the park. And there was a video that you did where you had mentioned some stuff about, you know, just kind of, you're talking about goal setting and how, you know, I guess smoking had kind of stopped you from doing that, and kind of going on and on. And I'd watched it before and saw it again, and for some reason it just like totally clicked that night. And I mean, like you took me out of my funk just like that. It was almost scary, but it was really cool too, because you made me kind of realize, like, you know, how I've gotten to the point in life of settling for things and settling for people and stuff that I would not have even, you know, thought about 10 or 15 years ago. And it was just like, holy cow, I came out of nowhere, and I started wondering, like what's that about? And I watched your video again and listened to what you were saying, and, you know, still my wheels were turning. And one of the things I realized was that, you know, I don't goal set as hard as I did in the past. But then I also realized I think my physical presence, if you will, is not the same that it was for me 10 or 15 years ago. And like that might have been a big part of why I settle for some of the things that I've settled for. And I don't know, it just kind of hit me like wow, you know, that probably has so much to do with what I've settled for at work, what I've settled for, you know, with relationships, what I've settled for with, you know, family. Just kind of everything across the board has made me think me not physically being where I was before has played a huge role in that. You just don't realize that that's the case. So, like I said, man, you got me really fired up that night, and I was pumped up, and I went and started writing out what I call a pre-contest routine and all this other stuff, and, you know, laid out my nutritional guidelines and everything, and I'm like so pumped up and so back on it right now. So Elbow, you probably don't even realize, you know, just through you sharing and talking about what you've done with your or quitting smoking and everything, man, you've been a big inspiration to me. And like I said, just you had the right words at the right place at the right time, and I'm just like so freaking fired up about it now. So anyway, I just came from the gym, so I'm kind of thinking about that stuff. It's on my mind, so I just had to give you a quick shout out. I even went in and pulled out some old pictures and set them around my desk here, just to kind of, you know, keep my motivation there and remind me of where I want to get to and everything. And I don't know, I'll show you guys real quick. It's kind of embarrassing, but you guys are VC, you're family, so I can share this kind of stuff with you. This is a picture of me in the last contest I did when I was just a competitive bodybuilder. So, you know, that's kind of like, I guess mentally, that's still what I compare myself to and everything. So it makes me feel like, you know, I've lost something, I guess, by not being at that level. So I'm headed back. Again, I don't know, I even feel embarrassed, right? Of all the things I've said and done to BC, I feel embarrassed by showing that. But again, you know, I love you guys to death, and you know, if I could share it with anyone and have some accountability with anyone, I want it to be the BC. So I'm willing to kind of lay that out there for you guys. But anyway, Elbow, just had to share that with you, man. Love you to death, bro. Album of the week, let's get to that. This is one I've been listening to quite a bit this week, because again, with the pumped up feeling that I have, you talk about just like an album that gets me just freaking fired up every single time. It's this one right here. This is your album of the week, Accept Blood of Nations. And I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, because when I got it, it was definitely a true grail for me, without question. I had the CD prior, but finally got a chance to pick up the copy of the vinyl. Vinyl's really cool too. It's a cool 2 LP set. Came with pretty good inner sleeves, you know, black with the poly lining, which was kind of nice. The vinyl itself is clear. Sorry. With a nice cool label there. Again, it's a 2 LP set, 180 gram vinyl. It also came with this really cool Blood of Nations poster, which is awesome. Almost wish it wasn't necessarily with the vinyl, because I would then hang it up on my wall, get it framed, but I like to keep all the original stuff with the album. But very, very cool 2 LP set, without question. CD, Digipack, you know, little trifold thing there, CD in the middle, a little booklet right there on the side, you know, all the info and everything, so that's the CD. But anyway, the one thing I say about this album, which I will always say about it, which is why I love it to death, came out in 2010, but it would not shock me to any degree if they came out one day and said, well, actually, we wrote this album back in 1987, and someone lost the masters, and then we found them in 2010 and decided to release the album. And the reason I say that wouldn't shock me is because this is 80s metal from the 80s. I mean, from you know, 86, 87. Without question. Oh my goodness. Love it to death. I mean, everything about it, from the vocal delivery, which is very, it's back to that, I don't know, what I call that unique delivery. And I guess what I mean by that is, you know, there were a ton of hair metal bands, you know, back in the day, with the pretty boy out front, you know, squealing the high notes and everything. But, you know, there weren't a lot of guys that could do that high note with the power of the grit in their voice, as well as keeping all of the lyrics very clear and understandable. I mean, that's kind of a talent. Again, as many hair bands that floated around, there's just not a lot of lead singers out there that could do that, and certainly not as well as what was done on this album here. Matter of fact, I remember when I first heard the album, one of my initial thoughts were the lyrics are kind of cheesy a little bit. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that's not cheesy. They're just doing the 80s thing with metal lyrics, which is, and a lot of times, telling a story and telling a very clear, coherent story. Not like a bunch of metaphors in the lyrics and things you have to kind of figure out what they're talking about, or go back and understand their childhood to understand what the lyrics mean or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like very, very black and white, straightforward. I'm telling a story. You know, if you read this to a 10-year-old child, they'll understand exactly what the story is. And sometimes, you know, lyrics maybe don't sound as awesome and creative or whatever, but it's like, no, it's just no bullshit. It's just kind of like, you know, boom. You know, lyrics straight at you. This is what I'm saying. This is what I mean. Along with that, the guitar playing and everything on here is the exact same. You know, you have guitar players like Mustaine might be a good example. Very technical player all over the place, and it's just, you know, things he does is incredible. But when it comes to just the true essence of metal, what does that for me is two simple things: bar chords or power chords and palm mutes. You give me power chords and palm mutes, and I'm just in metal heaven all day. And that's exactly what this album brings back to the table, which is why it's one that pumps me up so much. Just in a lot of cases, just very simplistic type riffs, and not saying anything about the playing ability of, you know, the guitarist here, but just kind of saying they kept that nice, simple, in-your-face, palm-muted power chord type of metal, which is just freaking awesome to me. So, I don't know, I love everything about this album. You know, everything about it. They had another one that came out, I believe it was 2011 or 2012, Stalingrad, which is very similar. But this one I think is still just a notch above. But so anyway, that's my album of the week. I mean, you guys have got to check this out. Absolutely got to check it out. The song playing right now is called Rolling Thunder. My favorite song on it is probably Shades of Death and Teutonic Terror. But I'm going to do a quick needle drop to get out the video here with Pandemic, which is another very good song. I think will give you a very good impression of what's on this particular album. So again, Accept, Blood of Nations. If you're a hair metal fan, 80s metal fan, you've got to check this album out if you haven't already. You'll absolutely love it. So let me do the needle drop. I shouldn't say needle drop because I'm actually playing it on iTunes here, but we'll just play you a bit of this and we'll see what you guys think. All right, take care, VC.